Oh boy. Here we go. What's up, folks? I'm about to just send out this quick little retweet saying I am live now. Probably should have did this before I hit go live, but whatever. Live now. Here we go. Okay. Me. Okay, that's done. What's up, people in the chat? Deja route. Bayley can win the elimination chamber. I don't see that. Don't see that happening. Uh, Bayley, I don't see it, but I don't know. Again, I'm not in the writing room. Like some people like to pretend that they are. I'm not in the writing room. Okay, it's all fantasy booking. Okay, but so I wanted to do this stream. I'll let some people file in here, but I wanted to do this stream to talk about the IWC and their belief that Bayley is going to win the Rumble, because at this point, I think it's pretty universal online. There's this ground swelling support of Bayley winning the Rumble, which is fine, um, as long as you're okay with the result if she doesn't win the Rumble. And I'm not sure people are. I think they've fantasy booked themselves. I tweeted this out yesterday, I think. People have fantasy booked themselves into oblivion with this roadmap of Bayley winning the Rumble and taking on Io Sky at Mania, when there is no evidence that that's actually going to happen. The WWE has not come out and said that that's going to happen, but they have fantasy booked themselves to believing it's going to happen, and which is fine, as long as you're okay with the results. Like some people think that their fantasy booking is reality, and they treat it as if they broke into Triple H's room and downloaded all his files, and you have not. Sorry, you haven't done that. Your bias and your opinion and your speculations and your predictions are one thing, but don't get upset if it doesn't come true. And that's why I think the IWC gets themselves into trouble. Because at this point, I think that they believe that Bayley's going to win this thing, and I believe that it's not. It's up in the air, honestly. So, is it a problem that so many people think Bayley is going to win the Rumble? No. It's a problem if they're now upset, or if they believe that is set in stone, and if it doesn't happen, then a change was made. Then there was an update. That's the issue. Okay. So why do people think? So why do people think that Bayley is going to win the Rumble? Why? They'll say storyline. Okay, let's look at the story. Uh, Bayley started Damage Control last SummerSlam. They've had a run of had some unlucky moments, some unfortunate moments, but ultimately this past SummerSlam, after the Money in the Bank, where there's been some friction between Bayley and Io for a while. Bayley was the leader, and Io was getting tired of some of Bayley's shenanigans, and ultimately, after Io won the Money in the Bank and Bayley helped Io cash in, Io became champion, and Io started to see things a little differently. She started seeing herself as more as the leader, and she became even more annoyed with Bayley's antics and Bayley getting involved in her matches, right? And then there was a turning point at Crown Jewel where Kyrie came into play and Bayley did not know, but Dakota knew. And Asuka came into play, and it looked like Io was kind of done with Bayley and kind of like pushing her to the curb a little bit. She was kind of the odd man out. She was the non-cool kid at the table, right? Everyone else was kind of interacting together, and she was on the outs almost. And it led to a lot of people believing, including myself, that Bayley eventually would get kicked out. So they then fast forwarded that to Bayley gets kicked out, Bayley wins the Rumble, and then Bayley faces Io, which is a giant step. I myself have fantasy booked a match with Bayley and Io. I did that, but I understand that that is just fantasy booking. I don't believe that that's set in stone. I don't believe that there is no other option, or that's the only logical conclusion to the story, which is ridiculous. This is fiction. There's infinite amount of possibilities, right? So as things stand right now, Damage Control are kind of on the same page, right? Bayley helped Asuka beat Charlotte. Bayley and the crew got together to shot that vignette where Bayley said she's going to win the Rumble and go after Rhea. Io said that this is Io's era. And Asuka and Kairi, the Kabuki Warriors, said that, hey, we're going to go after the tag team titles. We're all kumbaya. And Dakota Kai is the mastermind. That's what she was called. So as things stand right now, there's some friction between Bayley and Io. Io has taken the leadership role of the group. Bayley's trying to earn her respect and earn her place in the group. And everything's kind of cool right now. They've kind of resettled their goals. They've announced their goals to the audience. And Bayley wants to win the Rumble and face Rhea. That is the established story. Anything else beyond that is pure fan fiction. It's pure fantasy booking. That is all we know. So any other steps you're taking, any other story beats you're adding is in your head. Okay, it's not Triple H. That's not the writers. That's not the WWE. It's you. Okay, so that's why people think Bayley's going to win the Rumble, because they have taken steps in their head to say, okay, there's friction between Bayley and Io, and now a possibility is her winning the Rumble and facing Io. But it's not. But within the IWC, it's not a possibility. It's this is happening, which is going to be a problem if it doesn't, because we are not in the writing room and we don't know what good old Triple H's plan is. So let's think about this logically. Let's put bias aside, and let's think about this logically. No, Liv ain't winning nothing. I would be surprised if Liv Morgan won the Rumble. I would be. Io won't accept it, but she needs Bayley to win her matches. That is true. She does need Bayley, and I established that in the last video I put out, that Io is very much a weak champion who needs assistance to win. That is established. We agree there. So Bayley is one of the 4 women I see winning the Rumble. The other 3 for me are Jade, Liv Morgan, and Becky. Possible, very possible. I would be shocked if well, I'll say it's very possible. I mean, Becky and Bayley. I'd be shocked if Jade Cargill won, and I'd be shocked if Liv Morgan won the Rumble. But so let's think about this logically. Back on track here. Let's get back on track. Let's think about this rationally and put bias aside. Okay. If let's say Bayley was going to win the Rumble and face Io, let's say that was the story. We don't know. But let's say we broke into Triple H's house, grabbed his laptop, and let's say he had the files stored on his laptop and he has the story planned out, okay? So let's say we know Bayley versus Io for the championship. Wouldn't it make more storyline sense if Bayley went into the Rumble with the goal of facing Io? Think about that for a second, okay? Right now, she put out her goal already. She announced it to the audience. I'm going to win the Rumble to face Rhea. If Bayley was going to have this big storyline moment where she wins the Rumble and faces Io, wouldn't it make more storyline sense for her to go into the Rumble with the goal of facing Io? Which would mean Bayley would have had been kicked out of Damage Control before the Rumble or now. Because that hasn't happened yet, I'm a little bit skeptical that Bayley is going to win the Rumble. What's going to happen between now and Rumble's time that's going to make Bayley change her mind, change the goal that she already established, and go into the Rumble with the goal of facing Io? Now you could say, wait a minute, Will. Maybe she goes into the Rumble with the goal of facing Rhea. She wins the Rumble, and then something happens that makes her want to go after Io. Okay, that is possible. This is fiction, right? You can make up something but where I struggle with that is, from a logical perspective, Bayley loves Damage Control and she loves Io. Why would she win the Rumble and then go after Io, the woman who she's been wanting to defend the title, like the woman who she's been helping Io every step of the way? She loves Io. That's the character. The character Bayley loves Io. She's been helping her retain every step of the way. Why would Bayley win the Rumble and then challenge Io? Okay, Io did something to piss her off. All right, let's think about it. Why would Io kick Bayley out of damage control or piss her off once she's won the Rumble and she knows Bayley can turn around and challenge her? Okay, do you see where I'm going with this? If Bayley was going to go into the Rumble to face Io, something would need to happen. Well, there's what, 4 weeks? Something drastic would have to happen in order to change Bayley's perspective to say, no, I'm going into the Rumble and I'm going to face Io, not Rhea. What could that possibly be? They have a match against. Io has a match against Michin next Friday, and then we have a few weeks, and then there's Rumble. What could Bayley possibly do to get herself on the outs that would have Io Sky kick her out of damage control at this point when they've already had that vignette where they talked about their plan? It doesn't make any story. It doesn't make storyline sense for them to then pivot. They've already established that Bayley wants to go into Rumble and face Rhea. That's her goal. They established that to the audience. What could happen with the next couple weeks for them to go back and say, no, psych, take backseats. Instead, she's going after Io. What could happen between then and the Rumble? And if it doesn't happen, if she goes into the Rumble with the goal of facing Rhea and she wins, so the audience, the whole time the audience is watching the Rumble, they're rooting for Bayley to win the Rumble to face the other heel. That doesn't make any storyline sense. It doesn't. Matter of fact, as I'm thinking about it now, that is stupid. You can't do that. You can't have Bayley go into the Rumble with the goal of facing Rhea and then win the Rumble. Because the whole time within the story of the match, you believe she's going after Rhea. So why would that be something that the audience would be rooting for? Why would that be something the audience is excited about? Bayley going after Rhea, heel versus heel, when you know the smart audience knows that Becky's getting that match anyway. So why do you do that? It makes no sense. So as I'm actually thinking about it, they would have to do something before the Rumble that would make Bayley change her mind to say, no, I'm going after Io. And what could that possibly be? The more and more I think about this, I'm not saying it's impossible, but the more I think about it, the less likely I think Bayley is going to win the Rumble, because she already established to the audience her goal. So what could happen? Io Sky's not losing to Michin. Spoiler alert, she's not losing to Mia Yim. It's not happening. So what could happen? I'm not bullshitting you guys. I'm actually thinking about this real time. I'm thinking about it real time. What could happen? Give your opinion in the chat. I'll look at it. What could happen? I don't see it. They've been dealing with all of Bayley's nonsense already. She's like a nuisance, but she's not a problem for them. They've been putting up with her stuff. Sometimes she helps them, sometimes she works against them, but she's harmless for the most part. Bayley is harmless. There's nothing I can think of that would make her change her mind, which means she's going into the Rumble with the goal of facing Rhea. And if that's the case, she cannot win. That's bad storytelling. That's bad in-ring storytelling for Bayley. The more I'm working through this as I speak about it. The more I think about it, folks, it's looking less and less likely that Bayley is winning the Rumble. Okay, so now we got that part of it. What could Bayley possibly do that could cause that to happen? Io losing the belt, right? If Bayley screwed up so bad that Io lost the belt, then that could make sense as to what would make Io say, know what, we're kicking her out, right? The problem is she's facing Mia Yim and not Bianca Belair. Speaking of Bianca Belair, and this is where it gets interesting, if Bianca Belair was facing Io at New Year's Revolution, I'd be thinking maybe there's a story element there, but because he's facing Mia Yim, I don't see it. I think Io retains, and I think Io goes into the Rumble as champion. Now, at the Rumble, there's typically championship matches, right? For the women and the men. If Io Sky is defending her title against Bianca Belair at the Royal Rumble, Io stands, I'm sorry, you're in trouble. I'll say it again. If Io Sky is facing Bianca Belair at the Royal Rumble for the title, Io stands are going to be upset because I think she's in trouble. I don't think you book that match and have Bianca lose for a third time to Io. Now, if Bayley were to screw that up, it would make sense as to why Io would then turn on Bayley, but then the Mania match potentially would be non-title because in order for her to be upset at Bayley, she has to lose the title, which means she's not the champion. So it wouldn't be Bayley versus Io for the championship at Mania because Bianca would be champion. Now let's talk about Mania. What does history tell us? History tells us that there are 2 women's matches at Mania, singles, one for one title, one for the other. You can go down the line and look at it. Okay, typically you don't get 3 singles matches for the women, right? This whole fantasy booking that I also encouraged, that I also engaged in, I also said that it would be interesting if Bianca and Charlotte had a non-title feud, a non-title match that ended at Mania. Okay, but that goes against what we know from history. Historically speaking, they don't do that. They don't do non-title women's matches. So that was me doing something different. That was me calling something that I have not seen before. You're predicting something that you haven't seen yet. So there really isn't any evidence or any basis to go by to make that call. I'm saying something that I want to see by fantasy booking. I want to see Bianca versus Charlotte non-title, cool. But the history tells us that we have singles matches for the title for the women. If we were going to do Bianca versus Charlotte for the title, or I kind of spoiled myself there. I kind of spoiled it right there. If we're going to do Bianca versus Charlotte at Mania, historically speaking, that would mean it was for the title. Bianca versus Charlotte for the title. That's what history tells us. If that was the case, we don't know. If that was the case, if that was the match, Bianca versus Charlotte for the title, which would reflect history, what do you do now that Charlotte is injured? What do you do? Do you change up all your plans and say, screw it, let's mix and match and pull person in there, change that, mess up that match? If you had plans for the Kabuki Warriors, do you change that? If you had plans for Io Sky, do you change that? Or do you do the sensible thing, the smart thing, and you say, okay, we don't want to, and this goes for any type of planning, any type of management. Something has changed. Someone's injured. We don't want to now mess up all the plans. So what do? You replace the person who injured, with someone who is comparable in terms of star power and ability. Charlotte Flair goes out. You have to place her with one person. That way everything else stays the same. You plug in Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks. That is a logical conclusion to a problem. Let me just make sure I'm clear. If the plan was Bianca versus Charlotte for the title, in order to fix this issue and not change anything else, you replace the injured person with someone else who is comparable in terms of star power and ability. And that is Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Moné. So, if you don't want to change everything, Charlotte goes out, you put in Sasha Banks, and you have Bianca versus Charlotte for the title, and everything else can stay the same. Am I making sense now? If that is the case, and that's why I brought up this scenario on Twitter, which got the IWC in a frenzy. I said on Twitter, I see a scenario where Bianca beats Io at the Rumble and Mercedes Moné wins the Rumble. And that's your big Mania match. Everything else stays the same. You replace Charlotte Flair with a returning superstar. Nothing else needs to change. And people flipped out. Oh, you can't do that. You can't mess with the plan. You can't screw over Bayley and Io. Screw over who? Oh yeah, I understand. You think your fantasy booking is reality. No, it's fantasy booking. You think Bayley is going to win the Rumble. You think she's going to face EO for the championship. No one told you that was the case. No one, no, Triple H did not come out and say, "Hey guys, you're getting Bayley versus EO for the championship." That is fantasy booking. You don't know what the plan was. For all you know, the plan was Bianca versus Charlotte for the title. It's I mean, anything's possible. It could have been Bayley versus EO for the title. It still may be. Or it could have been Bianca versus Charlotte for the title. We don't know. So don't talk about someone getting screwed over because we're not in the writing room. That's what I'm trying to explain to the people who are responding to my tweets. You're not in the writing room. You don't know what they were going to do. So you can't say someone's getting screwed over. You don't know. So if the plan was Bianca versus Charlotte, then you take Charlotte out, you put Sasha Banks in, everything else stays the same. That is a very plausible and smart conclusion to a solution to a problem. So, if that is the case, then EO Sky, if that was the plan, then after EO Sky beats Michin and they set up EO versus Bianca at the Rumble, look out. Because I believe Bianca is going to win that title if that's the case. Now, they can get around that by having Bianca just enter the Rumble. But this idea that Bayley is going to win the Rumble and then face EO is not computing with me because she's already established her goals. And in order for that to change, something drastic has got to happen, and I don't see it. If Bayley enters the Rumble with the goal of facing Rhea, she's going to lose it because it doesn't make any storyline sense, in my opinion. I don't know what's going to happen. They could make her win it anyway, but in my opinion, for storyline, having the audience believe the whole time that Bayley is trying to win it to face Rhea is bad storytelling if that is the case. You have to change it. Something has to happen where she says, no, I'm done with EO, or EO does something to Bayley. She says, no, screw this. I'm going to go win that title. That way the fans would actually be celebrating her. They'd be cheering her on. They'd be like, let's go Bayley, let's go Bayley. Let's go Bayley so you can go face EO Sky. That's something that has to change if that's the case. So, in conclusion, I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's less likely that Bayley's going to win the Rumble now. I think Bayley winning the Rumble, if it was 50-50, I think it's going down to like 40-30. Let me ask you a question, folks, in the chat. Well, before I ask the question, let me read some of the stuff you've been saying. Richard, you've been going off here. I think the story was that Bayley would be attacked by Damage Control, but Charlotte comes in to save her because of their history as horsewomen, and Bianca gets upset because everything Bayley did to her. That's possible. I don't know. We're not in the writing room, right? But that's a possible solution. That's the thing I'm trying to express to folks. This is fiction, which means there are an infinite amount of solutions. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's infinite. So we don't know what's going to happen unless you're in the writing room. We don't know what's going to happen, but anything is possible with fiction because literally they're making it up, literally, right? Let me ask you this question. If Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Moné, is entering the Rumble, is she losing? If she's entering the Rumble and having this massive return, is that woman losing? That's a question. Simple question. I'll look at the chat. If Sasha Banks enters the Royal Rumble this year, well, technically next year, we know what I'm talking about, the upcoming Rumble, is she losing? Yes. Okay. You think she's gonna lose? Okay. It's like, again, anything's possible, but I would be hard pressed to believe that Sasha Banks is making this grand return to Rumble and she's going to get eliminated. If anything, she could win it. She would be one of the top favorites to win it. Can we agree there? Mercedes ain't losing. See David? I hear David, and that's where my mind goes. Mercedes Moné signs a big contract, makes a grand return at the Rumble, and she's getting eliminated by who? Who is eliminating Mercedes Moné at the Rumble? Don't be surprised if Mercedes rolls up in the Rumble and wins that thing. She's never won it before. They're trying to make good with Mercedes. They're trying to make good with her. They're trying to make up for things that happened in the past. She's never won the Rumble. Do not be surprised if she rolls up into that Rumble and wins. And if she wins the Rumble, who is she facing? Io? Uh, I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't know about that one. Uh, I don't know that. Nah, I don't know about that one because Io has been established that she needs to cheat to win. So what are you going to do? Have interference? Possible. Or do you have Io drop the title and you do Bianca versus Sasha Banks? Because if you're going to do Bianca versus Charlotte, now you do Bianca versus Bianca. Now you do Bianca versus Sasha Banks to have that match. You just put Sasha Banks into Charlotte's position, and everything else stays the same. Punk and Sasha is not winning, so both of them are not winning. Okay. Edge lost when he returns. Sure. I mean, like I said, I don't know what's going to happen, but I would not be surprised if Sasha Banks returns. Well, like last year, Cody Rhodes returned from his injury and won the Rumble. This year, CM Punk, spoiler alert, CM Punk's winning the Rumble, if you didn't know. CM Punk's returning. He's going to win the Rumble. Who's to say with Charlotte Flair's injury and with them paying money to bring in Sasha Banks, if Sasha Banks returns at the Rumble, who's to say she's not going to win that thing? And if she does, I don't think she's facing Io Sky. I don't. It's possible, I guess. Because you still have the story with Bayley being on Io's side, and Bayley has to decide who's she with. Is she going to stay with Io or go with Sasha Banks? But I don't know why she would go with Sasha Banks. So she would stay with Io, you would think. But I just made that up in my head. There's a story right there. If Sasha returns and she goes after Io, Bayley has to decide who she's going to be with. And then Bayley has to make a call. But still, that's not what the IWC thinks is going to happen. The IWC is fixated on Bayley winning the Rumble. But I'm just making a point there. I just came up with the story just now. It's infinite amount of solutions. It's infinite amount of storytelling that could happen. But yeah, look out for the Royal Rumble matches. If we get Io Sky versus Bianca Belair at the Rumble, I believe it's 95% sure Bianca is winning. I don't see Triple H booking Bianca to get pinned by way of Money in the Bank, by way of Kyrie interference, and then again at the Rumble. No. Bianca Belair is facing Io Sky and Bayley at the house shows. It's Bianca and Shotzi versus Bayley and Io. And Bianca's winning. Okay, she's still in the damage control mix. They have to book championship matches for the Rumble. They always do. Bianca faced Alexa Bliss at the Rumble. Who is Io Sky going to face? I'm asking. Who is Io Sky going to face at the Rumble? Who? She can't face Michin. She's doing that at New Year's Revolution. She can't face Zelina Vega. She already did that. She can't face Charlotte. She's injured. Who? B-Fab? No. I would not be surprised if they book Io Sky versus Bianca. And if that happens, Io Sky is taking that L, I think. This is okay. I think Io Sky faces Shotzi after being Mia Yim. That's possible. Has she not faced Shotzi yet? I guess not. That's a solution. That'll get you out of it. If you do Io versus Shotzi, she beats Shotzi. Wait, has she not faced Shotzi for? I guess she hasn't faced Shotzi for the title. She hasn't, but that's a solution. If they do that, Io is going to be champion going into the Rumble. I mean, into Mania. If they book, so that's what I'm looking for. If they book Io versus Shotzi, Io will be champion going into the Rumble. If they book Io versus Bianca, she's losing. Now, that still doesn't solve the Bayley problem. Because even if she faces Shotzi, that doesn't solve the Bayley facing Io at Mania issue that people think is going to happen, because Bayley is still going to she's still going to go into the Rumble with the goal of facing Rhea Ripley, and I think that's a mistake if that's the plan. If you want to do Io versus Bayley, something needs to happen before the Rumble. Do not let her win the Rumble, having people think, oh, she wants to face Rhea Ripley. That's silly, because at that point, Io Sky has accomplished her goal of retaining the title. Bayley has accomplished her goal of winning the Rumble, and she already announced to the audience that she's going after Rhea. So what's going to happen to make her change her mind? She loves Io. That's established. She keeps letting Io win the title. So why would she change? Oh no, I'm sorry. Never mind. Psych. I'm going after your title, Io. No. She's been helping Io Sky every step of the way, which means Io will have to turn on Bayley. And why would she do that once Bayley has the right to pick whoever she wants to in terms of Mania? It doesn't make sense. I think it's less and less likely that Bayley is winning the Rumble. But that's just me. That's with my brain. You can tell me what you guys think. Maybe, but I disagree. Fine, sir. Io is winning if it's Bianca or Shotzi. I disagree. They're not gonna do Bianca again. If Bianca faces her at the Rumble, she's losing, because they have established that Io cannot beat Bianca. So why are you doing it again? What are you trying to prove? Io cannot beat Bianca. She has not done it clean once. Bianca beat her on Raw. Bianca beat her at Backlash with interference from damage control. She lost the title by way of being injured and the Money in the Bank cash in, and then she lost the title at Crown Jewel, or she lost the match at Crown Jewel once Kyrie and Bayley interfered. What are you going to do the third time? No, the third time Bianca's going to have backup. She's going to have Shotzi. She's going to have Mia Yim. She's going to have Zelina Vega. So the numbers game will not work, which means it's one-on-one, and she's going to lose. They're not going to book that. If the goal is for Io to still be champion, it'll be Shotzi. If the goal is for her to lose, it's going to be Bianca. I believe. I'm 99% sure of that. We'll see what happens. DQ at the Rumble, and Bianca is not going to get a rematch. But think about that. If it's a DQ, so you have Money in the Bank cash in on injured opponent, you have interference from Kyrie and Bayley, and then you'll do a DQ. What's the point? Just don't do the match. Like I said, just don't do the match. Do Shotzi, because you're still telling the audience this is the champion, cannot be Bianca. Then what's the point? Where is that going? Is Bianca getting a title shot at Mania? If not, then what are we doing here? Why are you doing it over and over and over again? Move on to Shotzi. If they do it again, it's because Bianca is winning the title, I think. But that is just me. I mean, that's where my brain goes. But the larger point about the IWC, they need to calm down. They need to stop booking themselves into believing that what they think is going to happen is going to happen. Bayley can lose the Rumble and it's going to be perfectly fine. Liv fans, same thing. Liv Morgan is not going to win the Rumble, I don't believe. I'd be shocked. It doesn't mean they don't value Liv Morgan. It doesn't mean they don't value her in the ring. They just don't see her in that spot right now. I think Bayley's winning is more likely than Io, honestly. Well, not Io. I think Bayley winning is more likely than Liv, but I wouldn't be shocked if if both of them lost, honestly. This is a toss-up, because again, if Mercedes Moné enters the Rumble, I think she's probably going to win. In fact, if you told me right now, Bayley's in the Rumble, Liv is in the Rumble, Mercedes is in the Rumble, Mercedes the favorite for me. She's the favorite. Matter of fact, I'm going to ask that now online on Twitter when I get off the stream. I'm going to ask, who's the favorite if all three of these are in the Rumble? Liv, Mercedes, Bayley, who's winning? My mind leans toward Mercedes, but I could be wrong. Charlotte entered the Royal Rumble as champion in 2022. Was that 2022? No, 2022. No, wait. 2023, Rhea Ripley won. 2022, Ronda Rousey won. And then she challenged Charlotte. Yeah, she did. She did. I think she was champion. Yeah, she was in Rumble. Okay. That's true. Yeah, because she challenged Charlotte. And Charlotte was in the Rumble. You're right. Good call there. Good memory. Who do I think wins the Rumble? If Mercedes Moné is in it, I think I just said that. I think I just said it. If Mercedes Moné is in it, I think she wins it. If not, I don't know. Because again, the Bayley storyline with her winning the Rumble only makes sense if leading into it we know she wants to face um Io. If we go into the Rumble with Bayley wanting to face Io, then I think Bayley's going to win it. If she goes into it wanting to face Rhea, she's not going to win it. Which means Mercedes Moné would win it because I don't see anywhere else. I don't think anyone else is quite ready for that spot. No one else, in my opinion, is being positioned for that spot right now. I don't know. Becky could win it. I guess the reason why I'm not saying Becky's a good call. I guess the reason why I'm not saying Becky, because in my mind, I've already put her in the Elimination Chamber match. Because I have her winning the Elimination Chamber because she's never been in that match before. And because she's never been in the Elimination Chamber, I think she's trying to accomplish a lot of firsts last year. So I think she's going to scratch that off the list and say, okay, I've done that. I've done the Elimination Chamber match. And because it's for the Raw belt, the belt that's on Raw, there's a lot more women to be in that match. You have Becky, you have Zoe, you have Nia Jax, you have Raquel, you have Liv. There's more women to put in an Elimination Chamber match on Raw. So I think that's where that should go. And then the winner of the Royal Rumble will face whoever has the WWE Championship, whether that be Io or Bianca. That's where I'm at. All right. Got that off my chest. Boy, okay. Is there anything else I want to say about this topic? I don't think so. Like Mercedes is the wild card for sure when it comes to Rumble and Mania. And look out for what the booking is for the Royal Rumble. That's going to be very telling. Whoever Io faces at the Rumble, Bayley's storyline going into the Rumble, and if Mercedes Moné returns at the Rumble, I think this isn't like, don't take this with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt, but Boozer, the online scooper, is hinting at Mercedes Moné returning at the Rumble. And if that is the case, boy, it's going to be tough to see her get eliminated by someone. The momentum for her will be so crazy in that moment. I think they just pull the trigger and give her the win because she's never done it before. She never won the Royal Rumble before. I think they may give it to her. But yeah, look out for Io's opponent at the Rumble. Look out for Bayley's storyline. And if Sasha Banks returns, that'll be it. But yeah, IWC, chill out. You don't know what's going to happen. Your fantasy booking is not reality. It's a guess. We don't know. We're not in the writer's room. So calm the hell down. All right, folks, that's it for this stream. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tell me in the comments what you want me to talk about next. And let me know who you think is going to win the Rumble. Is Bayley going to win the Rumble? Is Io going to win the Rumble? Is Sasha Banks going to win the Rumble? Is Raquel? Is someone else? Did we not mention someone else who's going to win the Rumble? Is Jade Cargill? Please don't say Jade Cargill is going to win. Please. It's not going to happen. Okay? Jade Cargill is not winning the Royal Rumble. For the love of God, it's not happening. She's limited in the ring. They're not going to have someone who's limited. Literally, Triple H on a hot mic came out there and said, the woman is limited. You don't take somebody who's limited and have her win the Royal Rumble and have a highlighted Mania spot where everybody will be able to analyze how limited she is. You don't do that. She's going to have a nice run in the Rumble. She'll eliminate some people. She'll have a good little run. Maybe she'll be in the Battle Royal at the Royal Rumble. Well, not at the Royal Rumble. Maybe she'll be in the Battle Royal at Mania if there is one, but she's not winning the Rumble. She's not getting a high premium Mania spot. She is limited in the ring. She is learning, okay? All right, folks, that is it. Hit the like button for me, please. Share the video, comment, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace, deuces. Don't be like the IWC, okay? Don't be like them. Okay. Try not to.